And then the good news also,
Yeah.
most main SACCOs in Kenya, they have gone through what KUSCO went through.
Mm-hmm.
I can confirm to the audience that in late 90s, many SACCOs, of course, also try to engage in activities which were beyond borrowing, mobilizing
deposits
savings
and lending.
and lending.
If I'm choosing a SACCO, if I'm wondering, is my deposit safe in SACCO A?
Yes.
Should I move to one? How should one be going about it? Should I just be, should I join the big boys, Harambee yourselves? We have others, the Mwalimus, the Steamer SACCOs of this country.
Yeah.
Is there safety in just the bigger ones, or how do I assess it?
Yeah, your first stopping point should be, is this SACCO under any form of regulation?
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Make Money the Podcast by the Business Daily, and I am Kefa Mwirore. So, SACCOs held more than 683 billion shillings in members' deposits as of the end of 2023, according to statistics from the SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority, or SASRA. But we've seen this big exposure of the industry from KUSCO, the umbrella organization of SACCOs in Kenya. The scandal. We've written quite about it as a Business Daily, as the Nation Media Group. You can read more about it, a lot of our work that describe what has been happening in that umbrella organization, leading to the loss of some of the deposits by some of the SACCO members. And from that fallout, a lot of people have been asking, is my money still safe in SACCOs? Should I still be keeping my money in SACCOs? Should I be concerned I could lose all of my money? And it's very important to have this conversation, and I'm happy to have Dr. Ochiri. He's the CEO of Harambee Sacco. And I would like us to dive straight into the conversation. And I think the first question is really simple. For someone wondering, yes. There's a lot of analysis on social media. Is Sacco safe? Is the regulation real tight and fit? Will we see some SACCOs perhaps run into liquidity issues because of the exposures they had in KUSCO? So the first question, Dr. Ochiri, is my money safe in a SACCO? Should I take confidence in it?
I would like to confirm to you and our audience that your money is safe. What we've witnessed is an isolated case with KUSCO. Unfortunately, KUSCO was not regulated. I would like to confirm this would not have happened if they were under the regulator, because we constantly make reports. They follow up with supervision visits. And I can assure you, a SACCO like Harambee Sacco, your money is very safe. And even your own SACCO, I know it very well, Nation, very safe, very, very sound and safe. So to our members of all SACCOs, there should be no panic. And even if you look at the fraction of what we are looking at as a loss within KUSCO, you are talking about 12 billion against 800 billion. So assuming we do the subtraction, we still remain with 790 billion, which is very, very safe. Yeah. So SACCO members, wherever you are, please stay safe. Your money is safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how then should someone, how do you feel the interpretation would rather be? For someone who's just a member of a SACCO, they might not know the very many interworkings. Yeah. Some might even wonder, how was KUSCO not regulated? Is there a regulatory challenge in the landscape? A lot of people might not have that context. So how do they interpret what they've been reading, about a scandal that has also had some what I would say knock-on effects to SACCOs who've had to provide for some of the deposits that were pushed into KUSCO, and now there's uncertainty to whether they will be recovered and whatnot. How do they interpret the whole scandal and, maybe take the confidence, like you said, about their money actually being safe?
So first, we must admit it's unfortunate we ended up where we ended up with KUSCO. What I think the regulatory framework did not envisage was, could it be the work of KUSCO to be in business of savings and lending? That one we did not foresee. Ideally, no. They should be lobbying. It should be a union. In fact, the name is a union.
Yeah.
So that is where we missed it, where now we are very keen, all SACCOs of certain size, actually 100 million and above, they are placed under the regulator and they operate under very strict terms. This one escaped the industry. just the balance between a lobby, a union, and a business person.
Yeah.
That we admit we missed it as an industry or as a sector.
Yeah.
But the lesson has been learned. It's very clear. There is a technical committee formed by the Commission of Cooperatives. There is also a technical committee formed by KUSCO. KUSCO is the continental body overseeing cooperatives in Africa, and also a technical team from World Cooperative Union, WOCU. So we do meet frequently to assess the situation, and I think I would like to assure our listeners that KUSCO will be back.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's worth mentioning, it's only one section of the businesses that KUSCO were handling that had a problem.
Yeah.
And this was the central finance, particularly where they were holding special deposits. Special deposits are equivalent to what we have as money market in insurance or in mainstream banks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the special deposits where there was at one point panic withdrawal. And then the whole thing just blew up in a period of about 6 months.
Yeah.
Then we found ourselves where we are. But KUSCO is still alive. 2 weeks ago, I would like to mention, KUSCO had called for a stakeholders meeting. I attended also as a stakeholder. It was amazing. Participation was over 600. That demonstrates the confidence that the Sacco leadership still has in KUSCO as our union or as our lobby group. So all is not lost.
Yeah.
All is not lost. Of course, bad news spreads fast. That's what you have seen. And it will take a few more weeks before we go back to normalcy. Mm-hmm. But it was just an unfortunate bad news.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So looking at KUSCO and likening it to other umbrella organizations, someone makes the point, the Kenya Bankers Association has never attempted to create their own bank, take in deposits, customer deposits, and lend them out. You've made the point about, this being standalone and allowed to KUSCO, but perhaps someone, and even I myself might make the point and wonder, can we just keep KUSCO as a lobby and advocacy group? Because you guys, like you said, you're already doing well enough. You almost have 700 billion in deposits. Your loans book is almost approaching $1 trillion shillings. So SACCOs are already doing the job.
Yes.
Someone might ask the question, to play devil's advocate here and ask, do we really need KUSCO? Can we just take it out and, not worry about the cleanup and just, do away with it, continue with the Sacco business as it is. If you bring back a lobby and advocacy group, you just limit it to that without, letting a union, do business and opening it up to the risk like what we saw with
Thank
KUSCO.
you.
Yeah.
We are not going to do away with KUSCO.
Yeah.
What we are going to do is the many subsidiaries that were formed over the years under KUSCO, they are going to run as independent entities. So KUSCO will remain with the union's work, the umbrella work, and a bit of consultancy, of course, and education. But when you talk about central finance, no, that will be registered separately and put under regulation. The housing, that one will be also another entity on its own.
Yeah.
Then the insurance, definitely, there are discussions. We might merge it with one of the mainstream insurance companies, so that the so-called KUSCO as a union is not going to be in the all businesses the way we made a mistake and we found ourselves there.
Yeah.
You are very right. When you talk about umbrella bodies, they don't compete with those they represent. Like when you talk of Kenya Bankers, they do not also run, say, lending and mobilizing of savings.
Yes.
So there was a gap when we initially had KUSCO. That's why KUSCO came in, especially for small SACCOs. By the way, it was very instrumental in supporting liquidity of small SACCOs. But there is also good news for the industry. I happen to be the technical committee chairman of what we call Sacco Central. So we are going to have, it's already in the pipeline, it's already registered. So Sacco Central is what will do the role of opportunity for SACCOs to interlend. Yeah. Because at the moment, that is what, say, KUSCO was doing in quotes, where Sacco A with excess funds can then invest in the special deposits, then Sacco B in distress can access. So that role is going to an official Sacco Central that is already registered. We are in the pipeline to institutionalize. Currently still host at SASRA, but as soon as it's on its feet, it will be on its own, of course, to run and do that bit which has brought KUSCO down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So and I think you mentioned Sacco Central, and I think I saw part of the legislation coming up from the National Treasury. So it's important to follow and see that where we would have an equivalent of maybe an interbank lending for banks where
exactly
it's a regulator led assistance this time, as opposed to having an entity, a standalone entity, unregulated doing that job. So that's an important point. I think coming back now as we try to look past KUSCO, there is Harambee Sacco, and interesting, you guys had no exposure. There was around 24.8 billion shillings in deposits by various SACCOs.
Correct.
Somehow you guys never found yourself in there. I don't know whether it's just coincidental or maybe it's or had you made a deliberate, move not to have any of your monies at KUSCO, or was it out of fear, or is it just the normal way of doing business here?
What has happened with Harambee, and that's why we didn't find ourselves there.
Yeah.
We are very close partners with CIC Insurance. Actually, we are one of the major equity owners.
Yeah.
We are also a major equity owner of Cooperative Bank. And then these institutions, if you look at the size at which they operate, then they can shoulder the burden of Harambee. Or, for example, if we were to take real money, KUSCO is small.
True. Cooperative and the CICs would be giving you much more.
That's how we found ourselves not investing in the special deposits. But we had shares. All mainstream SACCOs, when KUSCO was formed, we invested in what we call share capital. So it's true. We were also hit, but in a very small way. We simply wrote off everything. Today, we have only 1 shilling in our balance sheet as KUSCO, just so that it does not disappear. Or if those of us who are in the office today, we leave office, whoever will be there 10 years will be asking, why is this 1 shilling here? What is it doing? Then you can trace back, and if maybe KUSCO will already be up and running by that time, we get back the money. That's how Harambee and some big SACCOs, we found, KUSCO was small. To be honest, it is small.
True. So in terms of what's now happening, and I'm sure the Commissioner of Cooperatives and SASRA itself has been leading the way, to ensure that SACCOs that had exposure might either have to lower their dividend payouts to members for this year, just to absorb those losses. Of course, we are trying to protect what happened at KUSCO, having the knock-on effect of even, leading to a run on a SACCO. And so the guidance there has been to reduce some dividend pay, perhaps, to hold back some of the money to be able to cover for the losses. Do you feel is it just a bump along the road in terms of attracting clients? Because you guys have quite a huge client base as SACCOs. And when we see the dividends maybe moving lower in terms of the payouts you might be making from the last financial year to December 2024, looking ahead, is it just a bump in the road, or do you expect it to actually have much of a bearing in terms of the operations, the attractiveness that Kenyans have on SACCOs?
So first, we got a bit concerned when the regulator gave official guidelines, and they were pointing towards the direction of complete write-off. The other bit is also those of us with auditors in Tier 1, Tier 2, they're a bit firm, and they will usually draw your attention to the international reporting standards, some of which point at if there is a loss or a potential loss, then you have to provide for it. The good news is the big SACCOs, in fact, if you talk of the big 5, they were not heavily affected with the KUSCO scandal. So you'll find as a result, yes, we were able to receive the guideline, but also implement as per the international financial reporting standards. To the medium-sized SACCOs and the small SACCOs, the minister came in, cabinet secretary, came in and gave opportunity for gradual write-off from between 2 years of up to 5 years. So in that way, members out there, those who have not had AGMs or ADMs, there should be no panic. There will be a very small drop, if any, on the payout in form of dividend or interest on deposit. And I think that's one of the best things or best decisions that the cabinet secretary made to cushion, particularly the medium-sized and the small SACCOs.
Yeah.
No, for us big boys, we have no problem. We just write off and we move on. Yes.
Yeah, but the smaller ones, they have to be guided and their hands held.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So if we look at the reaction we've seen, I think I pointed earlier about, a lot of chatter on social media, people having conversation, trying to assess the health of the SACCO sector. Should I still be having my money there? Have we seen any tangible reaction on the ground? Maybe fear of people, either asking for their money back in terms of deposits. Have we seen any of that?
No.
Speaking to fellow CEOs, looking at Harambee itself, has there been any reaction? In the real sense, we can talk a lot on social media, but on the ground, how is it? How's the picture?
First, a lot of discussions, even on fora like CEOs, all CEOs in Kenya of SACCOs. We have got our own forum where we discuss issues. This came up. We are asking exactly the same question. The good news, no. Members are not leaving.
Yeah.
And members of the SACCO, of course, is bad news to them, but that is not the basis for quitting their SACCOs. So at the moment, I want to assure us, no. And this is not only from me, discussion among the CEOs.
Right. So I think now as we wrap up to KUSCO, from the whole conversation around KUSCO, how can the industry avoid another KUSCO coming up? I know one point you might make here is regulation and ensuring that we do not have those gray areas where an entity would perhaps be operating outside the law, outside what's the legal provisions. But how can we prevent that? Because again, I think what we would be watching out for is to ensure that it's not what happened perhaps around 2015-16 with the banks, where we had almost 3 banks going down back to back. We would like to very much limit it to just KUSCO and take care, like you said, write it off, help those who can't write it off, with have that adjusted period of writing off their losses and the sector carrying on. How can the industry avoid another KUSCO? Yeah,
the what we have to do, I know we've been trying quite a bit, is to enhance governance. We need to have, of course, separation of powers between the CEO and the board. And then when we are constituting the boards, we should be able to constitute a board which actually does the real oversight, so that we are not in a situation in which probably one CEO plus 1 or 2 board members, they are running the show. The rest have got no clue. So we only panic when now everything goes loose. Unfortunately, once we are given a responsibility, for example, in the board, even if you did not sign, you signed, you are held responsible and accountable, because that was why you were there. So from my desk, the main thing that I know the regulator, the main thing that even the other sectors are going to be following very closely is governance. And the good news is there is a new bill that is coming up. It's in the Senate. Actually, it is in the it's in the Senate already.
Yeah.
It's already passed through the Parliament. That new bill has brought in reinforcement of the governance structure of SACCOs, not only SACCOs and other cooperatives as well. And it's also going to strengthen the regulator. So the regulator will have more teeth, will be able to take more action and timely. I therefore don't foresee us having a KUSCO case again and again. And then the good news also, most main SACCOs in Kenya, they have gone through what KUSCO went through. I can confirm to the audience that in late 90s, many SACCOs, of course, also tried to engage in activities which were beyond borrowing, mobilizing
deposits
savings
and lending.
So you find SACCOs found themselves stuck. I'm sure if you recall, most of the buildings in the CBD, at one point they belonged to SACCOs. But over time, and then when the regulations came in that were quite clear and specified, do your core mandate, we have seen great improvement. And of course, when we do that with KUSCO and all of us stick to our lane, we should be able to do much better going forward compared with what we are coming from.
Great. I think as we wind it up, the question I would ask now is, you as a CEO to either a member of a SACCO or someone looking to join a SACCO.
Yes.
There's a lot of due diligence perhaps required. You just mentioned about the board, oversighting management and all that.
Yeah.
This is not something an individual might be able to do, all the time, might be able to make that assessment. If I'm choosing a Sacco, if I'm wondering, is my deposit safe in Sacco A?
Yes.
Should I move to one? How should one be going about it? Should I just be, should I join the big boys, Harambee yourselves? We have others, the Mwalimus, the Steamer Saccos of this country.
Yeah.
Is there safety in just the bigger ones, or how do I assess the kind of Sacco or the type of Sacco I should be joining, and whether I should move? Is there any safety in a Sacco with a bigger maybe asset base, bigger deposits, bigger lending, bigger loan book
capacity?
Yeah, bigger balance sheet.
Yeah, your first stopping point should be: is this Sacco under any form of regulation? And you will find, by far and large, Saccos under regulation, they are disciplined because they have to operate as per specified parameters. So as you make a choice about which Sacco do I want to join, you might want to just go to the website of SASRA and check, is this one that I'm being, for example, sold?
Yeah.
Is it in the list of those being regulated? Definitely, you also want to look at the financial stability. And they are not very complicated, those parameters. They are called some prudential ratios.
Yeah.
Don't worry about even the big balance sheet of 60 billion or 40 billion.
Yeah.
No. If you go to the prudential ratios, there's, for example, one called institutional capital. That one tells you how much reserves does that particular Sacco have. So anytime that ratio is above 8%, that Sacco is stable. It means even if it is jolted with an unfortunate occurrence, there is, first of all, internal fallback. The other good news, and it is also mentioned, I think it's also covered even in the bill that is coming up, the bill I've referred to, is just like the banks, we are going to have a fallback, a deposit fallback, where if a Sacco collapses, then there is a fallback to a Sacco member.
Yeah.
It's not yet in place. It's already provided for in the current Sacco Act. It's been reinforced in the bill that is in Senate. And the expectation that probably before we finish the 2 years, then we will have it in place so that anybody who is not a member of a Sacco should have the confidence to join, save, and borrow from a Sacco. Yes.
So a lot of those regulations we have seen, I think there were some we saw cabinet approvals to just in the past week.
Yes. Yeah, I saw those ones.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
So we'll have more of like the insurance fallback, somewhere where you go, or rather you'll be able to access back your deposits. Should. But we will not reach there.
Yeah. Or some of what we have with the banks and KDIC, and of course, since the 2015-16, we've not actually seen any other bank collapse. So hopefully, I'm sure the same expectation here for the Saccos industry.
Very, very true.
All right, Dr. Ochiri, thank you very much for being on the podcast and providing some clarity on what has been happening within the sector. And I'm sure a lot of Kenyans are eager to get past KUSCO. I don't think anyone wants the jitters to continue. I believe we'll follow the provisioning, the completion of the write-off of those losses.
Correct.
We'll be watching carefully for what the reforms we might see in KUSCO itself as a body. So I think we'll always stay in conversation with you to just ensure that we have the right picture of what now KUSCO has become. And of course, like you did say, Saccos are mandated to publish, so we are able very much to look at any of the Saccos, and like you said, the ratios. It's not very difficult, like you said.
It's not.
I think it's sometimes people fret over numbers, but there's really nothing to fear about, and
very true.
I believe those disclosures are very important in knowing the health of, even if you might not be among the big, you might not be a member in one of the biggest Saccos.
True.
Even for the rest of them, you are able to have a look in at what's happening, and of course, there are AGMs where other questions can be raised. So, Dr. Ochiri, we appreciate you so much for being on the podcast this week. So,
thank you.
Like you say, shouldn't be any fear about money being safe in Saccos, and we appreciate the insights.
No, we are safe. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And that has been Dr. Ochiri, Harambee Sacco CEO. And that has been another episode of Make Money the Podcast. Till next time, I'm Kefam Wirori, and this is Make Money the Podcast by the Business Day.